This week, we have two power packed webinars for you, and we hope you're able to make it to the one that interests you the most. At 10 a.m., we have a webinar on safe investment options for 2025 by Samyuktha and Vaaishnavi. And at 11 a.m., we have a webinar that will discuss how to invest your year end bonus by Vinu and Rham. Click on the link in the description below to register for the webinars, and we hope to see you all there.
We spoke about his learning in his personal and professional life. Now, we will look into what it takes to sustain growth. This influence of startups is very high, it's almost glorified. And you come from a startup background itself, so I thought is like a startup only. And the idea that people have my age is either they'll do a job, get a better paying job, study, or it is in the other direction. I'll start something on my own, and it seems too easy to be achieved is what the mentality is. Right? So when somebody chooses that particular direction, it's not easy to say I will start something of my own and spend a lot of time. So what would your advice be to...
See, there are different startup cultures. You're talking about what advice I would give to startup. Firstly, there are different startup cultures. The first one is the bootstrapped startup, where you have an idea which you are willing to convert into something very significant over a very long period of time. Then there is the other culture where you think you have an idea which society is morally obligated to fund. In other words, it's like that, okay. So you think, why can't people give me money? People must give me money, I have such a good idea. I think the bootstrapped entrepreneur is very different from the other entrepreneur. Bootstrap entrepreneur also at some stage can become the other entrepreneur. So there are multiple tracks to take. Personally, I am more a bootstrapped entrepreneur because the entrepreneurship which I have learned within my family is bootstrapped entrepreneurship. We never had investors in whatever we did. We started from scratch and we grew, and then we started something else from scratch, and then we grew. We started something more from scratch, some things grew, one or two things failed. Whatever sustained gave us whatever wealth we have. So to me, it's always nice to start with nothing, and it's natural to start with nothing and then build. I don't believe in going and taking money from another person. If I am the entrepreneur, generally I am not prone to thinking that money is available and I am entitled to get money because I am an entrepreneur. I am not in that thought process. But I have dealt with entrepreneurs on the other side who have ideas which, if given money, can accelerate growth and development and create something tangible longer than a bootstrap process will take. And some entrepreneurs need money. They can't wait for a bootstrapped profit to grow them. It's too long. Somebody else may succeed very quickly and the opportunity can become narrower because you have given too much time to translate the opportunity into success. So such entrepreneurs need money. But one has to be very careful in judging them. I feel today that entrepreneurs also are demonstrating a certain trait where they say, if I have so much money, I will be very comfortable. Which means the entrepreneur wants to work only within his comfort zone, right? Personally, I think that is not good for the entrepreneur first. And when it is not good for the entrepreneur, it is not good for the investor also. But somewhere I think this has to be overcome. The entrepreneur has to overcome it. And as an investor, I will only try to sensitize the entrepreneur that don't have this mindset. And I will look for the entrepreneur to become self-sufficient quickly so that he doesn't go back to this thinking that if I have so much money, I will succeed in business. I will do great. I will do wonders. All I need is capital. Because that thought process is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And thinking money is available for free, it's easy, I should take that money, again, creates so much of accountability that accountability itself can later constrain that person, especially during any situation of adversity. Because you have to answer people off and you will not be able to focus on what needs to be done. So it's a very tricky thing. I would not simplify this into just giving and taking money. It's not an exchange of capital alone. It is all about commitment. And I think entrepreneurs probably need to think harder on this. That's what I feel. And anyone who is not making the entrepreneur think hard enough is actually doing him a disservice. You have to make him think. This is my view.
And speaking of things that you need to think hard enough, right? I remember in one of our meetings you said, always think 10x, either professional or personal. Do you think that this vision for growth really lacks? Even if you're just saving consistently in your portfolio.
See, we have one enemy to our vision, and that is our own sense of entitlement. Because you're clever, you think you're entitled to success. We forget that between cleverness and success, there is a track or a path called hard work. Okay. So you think clever people should succeed. This is a very natural thing. But not all clever people have succeeded. You would have met people who are very, very astute, but who have not done anything in life. Because that cleverness itself creates a certain hare mindset. The mindset of a hare in the hare and tortoise race. You think you are ahead, you need not worry about others. So you are not putting in the effort correctly, you are not ensuring that your success happens. You take your success for granted sometimes. All these things happen. So I think that people should be very, very aware of this aspect. You don't take anything for granted, then you will do extremely well. The moment you start taking things for granted, then you are in the wrong path. So, being clever does not mean that you are going to be successful. So, you must know that you need to put in a lot of effort and you must always be aware of it. Like I see a lot of people saying that, oh, I will only put this much effort and I should get what I want. Unfortunately, I don't think the world works that way, where you put conditions for input and you want unconditional output. It doesn't happen. And nobody will tell you that. That's the problem.
No, because everybody has a different meaning to success. I have done this, so I'm successful. See, sometimes it's outcome based, sometimes it's belief, sometimes it's values. But somebody who's in their early 30s, there are many things to do. There are many priorities that keep on coming up. So, how did you go about saying, okay, I've done this. I feel like this is a great point of success, and that is actually fueling you to go 10x more from there.
You have to think of how you can do the same thing differently and what you can do new, both. So you keep improving yourself. When you keep improving yourself, you are curious to do something new and you go looking for it. Then you do it slowly and then you move to the next thing. It's just a
success loop.
It's just a transition which you make from one state to another and you keep doing the transition again and again and again. I don't think you have to be so conscious and very egoistic about these transitions. You just do. There is a job to do and you keep doing that. That's all. I don't think you should get overwhelmed by either the job or the outcome or what you want to do after you got what you wanted from a job. When you got your outcome, you move on to the next thing. No, it's just a natural thing. And I don't think you should say, oh, I did this, so I am like this, and then don't make it all about yourself, because whatever you did in the past is over. The next thing is a new thing. So you can't dwell on the past. The past will just sit where it is and sit gently. So the present and future should keep moving. This is my basic thinking.
See, in our conversation, you spoke about having a good regulation over your emotions, right? And Buffett says, until you can manage your emotions, you cannot manage any money. It's not only money; it's about all the other things. So,
Correct.
how have you been able to manage your emotions in all aspects? Because
see, there will be some places where it's very challenging to manage your emotions, like on the personal front in general, because you are always going to face challenges on the personal front. It could be your health of the people you care for. It could be need for money for obligations, like you need to take care of people, that requires a lot of money. It could be so many things that will keep coming. Those challenges will keep coming. Those are all things which you mechanically deal with. You don't have to deal with them so emotionally. You have to just do your duty and look at it like you have to do it and there's no escape, and you'll just do it the way it has to be done. Then there are things which you can do in a better way, which will give you growth. These are all maintenance things. Taking care of all your duties is maintenance. But growth is something in which you emotionally invest more. Don't emotionally invest more in duties. You do it, but don't make a big issue of it. But where you are wanting to grow yourself as a person or you grow your work, then there you invest emotionally. You should know where to use your emotions. If you waste your emotion in the wrong place, no, then you will not have enough emotions where it's needed. Right? You'll have the wrong emotions where it's needed. The emotion is your emotions are your capital. Use it responsibly. Don't misallocate. It's very, very important to allocate your emotions correctly.
And I was just.
But you can never be perfect. We will make mistakes. Sometimes you have to walk out of them. So you will have to again start afresh.
And I was just going to capital allocation because we are always seeing this from okay, I need to have this much equity, this much debt, this much gold, but nobody actually sees the broader things. Holistic well-being has become very important after pandemic, right? And my generation suddenly has become too sensitive about health, about various other topics. And when you said capital allocation, to your emotions, how do you view capital allocation when it comes to physical, mental, and then social?
I think it all evolves, no? First, you are allocating to your well-being, personal well-being. Then you are allocating to your financial portfolio. Then you are allocating towards assets you need, like you mentioned car, house, summer house. You want a beach house. You want to go and buy a house abroad. So many things people do nowadays. So you allocate for all that. Then you allocate towards travel and other things. So when you allocate for all these things, you allocate only what you don't require for your wealth creation. So you don't mix up what you enjoy and what you create for legacy. You draw the line nicely. And only a small percentage of it you keep enjoying. The rest of it you keep growing. So you just compartmentalize things. The moment you compartmentalize, you know which compartment deserves how much. If you put everything in one compartment, then you are going to be confused. So only when you separate, then you think. If somebody has got 5 crore wealth and he wants 1 crore car, I'm giving you a simple example. 5 crore wealth, you want to buy 1 crore car, you are in trouble. If you have 500 crore wealth and you buy 1 crore car, it's a simple decision. You're probably buying it out of your dividend. You agree? Similarly, if you have 5 crore wealth and you want a 5 crore house, it's a difficult decision. If you have 500 crore wealth and you want 5 crore house, or even let's say 10 crore house, or even 25 crore house, it's not a problem. So you will need to know when you must invest how much in what. And before you make the financial investment, you are also making an emotional investment in that. You must be judicious in the emotional investment so that your financial investment is also judicious. These two are in tandem. Perfect. They are not separate.
And speaking of managing emotions, right? We are afraid of stress. And we find that, okay, if we are going to be committed to something very, very deeply, very, very we're engrossed into it, we are going to take stress. But somehow we are afraid to take stress. So do you think that stress is something that you need to be worried about?
Worrying about stress only will add more stress. No, so I think worry is part and parcel of life. Only it should not be too much. That's all. Little worry is good always. In moderation, worry is good. If worry is going to dominate your life, it is not good. But I think 5-10%, 20% worry is always good. But you should know where to keep it. What are you going to worry about? Are you going to worry about your driver coming on time? Are you going to worry about how your house is run? Are you going to worry about your food delivery? Right? Are you going to worry about getting movie tickets in a particular row? You should know what to worry and what not to worry. People worry about things which they don't need to worry. Like, are you worried that you are not going to be invited to a particular party, or you are not going to be asked as a speaker in a particular platform? These are all worries you can do without, right? But worry about whether your health is good, what you should do to keep your health in a good shape. Worry about things which are meaningful to you, which materially alter your well-being, financial and emotional. And worry in moderation. Don't keep worrying without doing anything. A worry should always translate into a response, right? Worry is healthy only when you are going to make the appropriate response to that worry, not just keep worrying. A lot of people just keep worrying. That is not acceptable. That's not good for anybody. So worry should always lead you to some action which will remove the worry and remedy your state. So to that extent, worry is good. Otherwise, I don't see any meaning in worry. No point.
Did you face any worryable situations?
Worry, you will have plenty of situations. Most recently, I will say COVID was a worrisome situation because you don't know what will happen. So that is very, very difficult because you don't control the outcome of your life. That is a very worrisome situation. Similarly, I would think that there have been other situations also which were quite difficult. But mostly your situations where you worry more are related to the health of yourself or people whom you care about. Highest worry comes from that. I luckily haven't had a situation where I worry so much about wealth, its transfer, what you are going to get. All that I am not been worried about too much. Luckily, my life has been a blessing that I don't have to think too much about what would happen to me. Maybe I'll have to worry about what will happen after me. But luckily, this part I have escaped by and large. I have escaped. I have not had so much of worry or anxiety. So, people do have these worries. I see a lot of people go and take counsel, they talk to therapists and all that is happening. I think because they are worried more than necessary. So, if you keep your worries in check, you only worry where it's necessary, then you will be able to manage it yourself. Then you don't need to go to external help. I'm not meaning to say that you should not take external help. You take it when you need it, but it's better that you don't put yourself in a position where you need to take it, is my core point. By and large, we can be better off by worrying less. That is the only point I want to make, and you worry only where it is needed. Don't worry about things which are not necessary or not priority. I think most people worry for unnecessary things. Like worrying what will happen to market next year is a ridiculous worry in my opinion. Market will go down 1 year, it will go up another year. You are not grateful that you got returns which you probably didn't expect at the beginning of this year, in the course of this year, right? No one is grateful, but everybody is worried about next year. So I think that the gratitude will basically help you manage worry better, and when you are grateful, you worry less also. When you are grateful for what you have, you worry less. So I think gratitude is also a very good antidote to worry. So think about it in that way, then you will probably worry only where there is a need to worry. There are some places where you must worry. Only there you worry. Don't worry about trivial things or things which you anyway cannot control.
Thank you so much, sir, for spending time. I'm looking forward to our next conversation.